Ladies and gentlemen, please stand. Join Vice Mayor Gary in the salute to our flag and country.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for our prayer.
God, you are creator, guide, and watch over us. You use everything that happens for your purposes and glory. Help us to hear your voice and walk in your wisdom. Help us to honor you in what we think, say, and do. Thank you for providing for our every need and so much more. Help us to care for others like you do and to forgive as we have been forgiven. Please keep us from our own selfishness. Help us to build a city that honors you and reflects your love for us. Thank you for being with us in every difficult circumstance and joyful breath. You are God and worthy of glory, honor, and praise. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Excellence again. Call to order our City Council meeting of November 5th, 2024. Second item on the agenda is public comments, community announcements, or recognitions. I don't believe we have any. Item number 3 is consent agendas. Agenda items A through I. A is the approval of the City Council minutes of October 15th. B is the approval of $6,687 to Myers Engineering for the Owens Field softball facility upgrade. C is the payment of $9,500 to GH2 Architects for Highland Park Municipal Pool Reconstruction Project. D is the second amendment to the Advanced Metering Infrastructure Agreement for the automated meter reading services. E is the approval of $8,516.85 to Myers Engineering for West Side Booster Pump Station replacement and upgrade. F is the approval of $3,498.20 to Myers Engineering for ADA accessible intersection and sidewalk project. G is the payment of $3,445 to Myers Engineering for the second fire and EMS station. H is the approval of $4,252 to Myers Engineering for also for services for the second fire and EMS station. And I is the approval of the amendment for EMS agreements between the City of Guthrie and North and East Logan County EMS Services, the District Board of Trustees.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Are there any other discussion or questions? Submit your votes, please.
All votes are in.
See the votes. Unanimous approval of all those present then to approve the consent agenda items A through I. Item number 4, items removed from the consent agenda. There were none. Item number 5 on the agenda has been removed. The request for funding has been resolved. So there's no need for that to be on our agenda. Item number 6, retail strategies presentation. Shonda.
Yes, so I will not be giving the presentation. As you all remember, we partnered with Retail Strategies to provide retail recruitment services to the city. They've been working in the background to create a retail recruitment plan, and I'm going to let Cam with Retail Strategies give you that presentation. You have the full presentation in your packets, but it's about 45 slides long, so this is going to be a condensed version for the meeting tonight.
All right.
All right.
Good.
Good evening, council. How you guys doing this evening?
Oh, we're doing good, Cam.
Pretty good. Glad to be here.
There you go. Okay.
Huge day for the country. Everyone's doing their civil duties out there, and you're doing your performing your civil duties here on this council. So, appreciate the time be able to present to you. Shonda said, you know, the full presentation it's very lengthy. I wouldn't have the time tonight to present that full packet. So today, tonight I've kind of got it neutered down, curated to some of the highlights. So Just bear with me if you want to ask questions. I asked to save them for the end so we can get through this. I know I have a tight time slot, so I'm gonna get my screen shared here. Had to send a request in. Let's get approval. There we go. All right. Just a quick entry here. My name's Cam South. I'm the Senior Portfolio Director for Retail Strategies. I cover the Midwest, including Oklahoma, the great state of Oklahoma. So I also have a retail recruitment developer. His name is Stephen Dendy, and he does a lot of the groundwork, most of the groundwork for the partnership. So he's very well in tune with the retailers and the brokers and the property owners on a day-to-day basis. My line of work is more of the community partner and the communications from the work that we are doing on the behalf of Guthrie. So to jump right into it, if you go to Google and you type in Guthrie, Oklahoma, the first thing you're going to see is the squiggly lines around it, that the geofence that Google assumes what the city boundaries are. So, this is a great way to look at your community. You kind of understand the size of your community through these boundaries. But a retailer is going to be looking at it from a completely different standpoint. They're going to be looking at it from a median household income density map. They're going to be looking at it from a residential pop, daytime pop, and looking also at different study areas. Is this data set point ran in a 3 or 5 mile or 5 to 10 minute drive time? So, they want to annotate as much data as they can on certain sites to understand what that consumer is doing. One key percentage I want you to keep in your head is 70%. So retailers, brokers, data analysts, when it comes to growth in real estate, they will always look at 70% of that core consumer. One way to look at your market is through a mobile data collection. So that's through cell phone data. If you ever read the book George Orwell, 1984, it's kind of that big brother moment there. We don't know where you live, but we can get an understanding of where you shop and kind of where you're traveling from. So if you look at this map here, you'll see the darker colors showing if kind of a stronger segmentation of that consumer and kind of where they're coming from, where the lighter colors are showing less of that consumer coming in. This is ran off of a Walmart. So we aggregate all that data together and we put together a custom trade area. So your CTA is what the retailers, consumers, ourselves are going to be looking at. This is where the embodiment of that consumer is coming from to shop in Guthrie. We run these points off of multiple different retailers or shopping centers in the community. And we, again, like I said, we aggregate that all together and we get this visual here of that CTA. Some of the highlights there, you're looking at a total population CTA of about 31,578. With a little bit of growth there projected for 2028 at 31,895. The average male age of 38, average female age of 41, right on par with the national average. Your current year estimated population by race. You can look here and see that 74% is white, followed by 12% black, and you can see further on. Number of households, you're looking at about 13,330, with two-person households ranking the highest at 36%. That is right on that national average. It shows a strong consumer within family households. And you're looking at about 11,758 of occupied housing units with a home value of $216,481. And owner occupied. So the difference between occupied housing units and owner occupied houses mean homes that are mortgaged that have open mortgage and homes that are completely paid off. And the owner occupied within your CTA, those numbers are pretty impressive. So a lot of people own their homes in that community. So retailers look at that and say, hey, we can run different type of brands. They have some form of disposable income. where it matters to their demographics and their requirements. Family households ranking at 8,145, so 2.5 people per household. That's usually mom, dad, and kid at home. You can see the national average there at 2.58, so right there at the cusp of it. Daytime population here of the CTA of the type of consumers you have in your community. 31% of your student population, followed by a high of 27% of fully employed individuals. Average salary in the CTA, 48,240, with blue collar work comprising about 64%, and a strong white collar number of 34%. And your chapter segmentation, I had to kind of cut this down a little bit again to save on time. There's a previous slide kind of understanding and give you an understanding of what segmentation is. But segmentation is pretty much putting a mirror right in front of each one of your consumers and kind of understanding who they are, what are their shopping habits, what are their psychographics, what's their education attainment, what's their family makeup. Every community in the country, every neighborhood in the country is pretty much stereotyped. And here you'll see the list of stereotypes that pop off the chart from the Esri segmentation, looking at 25% of traditional living, and then 24% of small town consumers. So, excuse me. And so it's pretty evenly split here, and this is about average for trade areas as well as communities such as Guthrie. All right, into gap. And these are the numbers that we look at, or some of the main things that we look at when we're pitching or trying to find what retailer makes sense in the community. So when we talk about gap or we talk about leakage, we want to look and see what dollars are being spent outside of the community. But we also want to see how much money and what's that amount of dollars being spent in the community. So currently right now, total market supply is $233 million. Total market demand, meaning this is what the consumer, the aggregate consumer is looking for. So 379 million. And that opportunity gap or that leakage gives us $145 million to kind of embark on and try to get those dollars within the CTA in place there in Guthrie. So, we went through a little high-level data. We went through a little talking about psychographics, and then the actual hard dollars being spent or not being spent or captured in the community. Let's kind of get into the real estate side of things here. So we came to the community. We did our boots on the ground assessment, or for us, we call it a BOG. We take our retail. We take our our advisor hats off at this point. We're in the community. This is when we put on our real estate hats. And this is where we want to look through the lens of what a retailer or a broker is going to look at when they tour your community. So it's a different amount of variables we collect in the community. Everything from addresses. We're looking at topography issues, if there's any. We're looking for egress, ingress on site. Some retailers are very picky about how the consumer comes into their location. We're looking at total size of sites. Some retailers prefer smaller sites. Some retailers need a lot of parking or a bigger site and to incorporate their footprint. So, and one of the most important things, especially when it comes to QSRs or quick service restaurants, are the traffic counts. If you don't have traffic counts, that's kind of the first base layer for a retailer to rule out a community. But we're cataloging sites. We have a system called SiteWise, which is the Esri product. Where we catalog all these properties, we put in-depth notes on each one, kind of get an understanding of, is this site able to be presentable? Is this site a sale, a lease? Is it tied up in litigation and so on? So as you can look here, again, we collect a ton of variables while we're in the community. A lot of you guys know these these terms here, but on the retailer side, we're working with those corporate real estate directors, those real estate managers. They're kind of the end all be all. They are the ones that are in charge of, at the end of the day, going back to real estate committee and saying, hey, here's the sites that we are selecting, and let's check these off. Let's make sure we can get a store going at this location. Tenant rep broker, that real estate director can't be in every single market all the time. The tenant rep representative is going to be out in the market, looking for sites, understanding the community from a consumer standpoint, from a data standpoint, to get to the real estate director. But there's some brands that are franchise driven. So we work with a bunch of franchisees to say, hey, there's a brand that's in Edmond or whatnot, and there's a franchisee for that or owner operator, and we reach out to that franchisee and say, hey, we have this data, we have this opportunity for you in Guthrie. Is this an opportunity for you guys to expand into Guthrie? Is this an opportunity for you to get another location going? But we also work with those franchisee brokers, those ones, they're the ones out there headhunting for operators. And we work with a couple franchisee recruitment groups in order to get opportunities presented back to the brand with an operator. More on the site side, I mentioned Stephen earlier. He's the guy that's running the ground. He's constantly talking with the property owners, kind of understanding the dynamic of the site in order to pitch it. He's working with those brokers on a day-to-day basis, attending trade shows, getting FaceTime, building that relationship and getting rapport back and forth with those brokers to get a higher chance for opportunity and development in Guthrie. But we also work with bank-owned sites or city-owned sites. Sometimes banks have really good position in the market, or they have excess land that they own that's in a retail corridor that could be a play. Same goes for municipal clients, our municipal clients that own property in retail corridor. So we want to work with not only just private entities, but public sectors as well. But we also keep an eye on underperforming businesses. I know you guys see brands come and go all the time, not just in Guthrie, but all across the country. And so, we want to get ahead of the brand, understanding, hey, this quick service restaurant isn't doing well, this clothing store isn't doing well. We want to have that opportunity in front of us to go back to the board and say, hey, this retailer fits this dimension, it fits this type of consumer, it fits this trade area as a whole, and kind of leverage that opportunity to the retailers. Whoops. Let me go back a slide there. All right, so this one's very important. This is one I always come back to the client at the end of the day for them to kind of understand the deal process and understand what it takes for deals to be done. On average, you're looking at 18 to 36 months for retailers to come in. To look at the market, to open the door, to have the cash register ringing in the community. So. We see a quicker time with QSRs generally, but 18 to 36 months is somewhere around the sweet spot. That's a part of the reason we always ask for a 3-year partnership, because it takes time going through those channels, through those routes, going through multiple sites to get these retailers involved. So, and at the end of the day, it could be not, sometimes it's just not the right opportunity for the brand, or they file for bankruptcy, or financials aren't making sense for this community. Just so many different layers that we have to cross through to kind of understand, hey, this is an opportunity for this retailer. We want to make sure we have everything lined up so we can get through these stages as quick as possible, but as efficient, and make sure that at the end of the day, the retailer is going to make money. So some of those brands, or some of those categories that we identify with the leakage, and we identify with possible site opportunities, these are the categories that we're going after. That's general merchandise, which is a huge range of different brands, health and personal care, which shows a leakage, as well as food service and drinking places. So I had to redact this slide here, of course, for public reasons, but ongoing traction right now. We got quite a few of different brands that are interested from different levels of interest. So you can see here some brands are saying, hey, we never really considered Guthrie, but this is a possible opportunity. Let us look through the market and let's look through some sites you've sent us to kind of understand. And then there's some brands here that say, hey, we really like this community. We think we can get a deal going. We have a franchisee operator up and running that could expand into this community. And we're also reaching out all across the board here. You can see from pet retailers to some food service or quick service restaurants such as coffee, to some personal and health and beauty care, all the way to department stores that kind of, again, fill that gap of clothing and type of home goods and general merch that we purchase there on a day-to-day basis. And, I usually layer this slide here as well as some of the brands and just kind of go into trends of brands that have an omni-channel. Essentially what that means is from bricks to clicks. How do these brands get you into the store, get that consumer into the store? But separate slide, I don't have that to present tonight. But yeah, I think we're at a great point, and we're on track, to say the best, with this partnership so far. Stephen is rocking and rolling. We have ICSU Red River coming up in January, which we're already prepping for. It's a big show down in Dallas, where it's the second largest show of ICSE, right behind the Vegas show. And this is where the bread and butter shines, or the bread and butter is actually eaten. So we got a lot here in the pipeline. This is on a little small view into the world of what we're doing here on a day-to-day basis. But we also want to make sure that you guys are up to date and kind of understand where we're moving as well as where your community is moving. I can take some questions here at this time now.
Yeah, I have a question. Go ahead. Your Honor.
Steve Gatling. The leakage, you identified it in three large groupings, obviously a miscellaneous, but a healthcare and a food and drink. Do you have any kind of percentage information that, how much is the leakage in the food area versus the healthcare versus the miscellaneous? Do you have that specifics?
It's on a separate report. It's a dollar amount, and I can definitely get that over to you. I think we looked at in food services, we were somewhere. We were somewhere around the roughly about the $400,000 mark, but that's split up across different categories of food. So, but absolutely, I have a separate report. It's a couple pages long, a couple tabs in an Excel sheet that you can flip through, and I can get that sent over to you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my question, I'm Granny Gary. My question is regarding your mention of the psychographics. It's my understanding that Strategic Business Insights has gone out of business, and so what are you using for the psychographic measure?
Yeah, so we're all of ours is ran through Esri, which is the #1 consumer psychographic, as well as public and private sector psychographic measuring or tapestry measuring provider out there.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Cam?
If I have any further questions, I'll say this, I get all my contact information over to Shonda, and she can get that divvied out. If there's any questions that come up hereafter the meeting, feel free to call, text, email me, and I'll be gladly to sit down with you, go through, get on phone calls, Zoom call, walk you through anything that you would like.
Very good. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And appreciate the Reader's Digest version.
I call it the retail for dummies version, just so you can just get it. And one thing I'm personally working on with these, especially with our recruitment plan, is to give it in bite-sized pieces, because a lot of this stuff flies over a lot of people's head. And if we can break it down to a more smaller pieces and bits and pieces, it not only, shows the effort and everything going into it, but also is a teaching thing. At the end of the day, this is a teaching opportunity for me to come to you community members and leaders to help you be more dynamic, in the retail role, where we can put this together and get things going in the community.
Of course, we all understand that this is part of the process, and the data that you've provided to us and simplified in your presentation today is pretty extensive. We know it's not the total package, and it's always a work in progress. But of course, the thing that we're most interested in is the outcome. So that's where we will be excited when we start to see some of these outcomes happening. So we're counting on you.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, I'm happy when I go to bed knowing I got something in the community. I can have that smile on my face, and knowing that we can have a great relationship as we continue to bring those retailers in the community.
Okay, very good. Appreciate that. John, anything?
Do y'all have any other questions for me regarding this? Good?
Very good.
Made my job
Good
easy.
step forward. Okay. Thank you. This was for information only, so there's nothing for us to vote on. We will move on to item number 7, resolution number 2024-25, the election for mayor and council for 2025. Kim, are you handling that?
Yeah. So resolution 2024-25 provides for the 2025 primary and general elections for the city of Guthrie for the offices of the mayor and council members. Also sets out the filing dates, which is December 2nd, 3rd, and 4th at Logan County Election Board from 8 to 5. The primary election is February 11th, 2025, and the general election is April 1, 2025. With that,
Okay.
ask for approval.
Move approval of resolution 2024-25 election for mayor and council 2025.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions? Kim? Submit your votes.
All votes are in.
See the votes. Unanimous approval then from all those present to approve resolution 2024-25, the election for mayor and councilmen and women for 2025. Item number 8, Best Friends Animal Society Incentive Grant. Chief, already getting money.
So this is one of the places that we came across, and we've been in discussion with these people for just a little bit. Essentially, what they're wanting to do is gives us $1,000 to buy into their program. Their program costs nothing, and their goal is simply to reduce the number of animals that have to be put down in a shelter. They want to get to a no-kill shelter, and that's defined by 90% because, you have animals that come in that are sick or old or injured. So it's never, ever going to be 100%. And they provide a network of additional places inside and outside the state that we have options to get our animals to. I think it's a good deal. I don't think there's any downside to it. And then the ladies at Animal Control would like to use the money to buy 8 new beds. We've got 16 kennels out there, and 8 of them have beds that are up off the floor, and 8 of them don't. And it's going to get cold pretty soon, and we'd like to be able to get those dogs up off the floor.
And we're also getting more volunteers out of this group?
I don't think out of this one.
Not out of this group? Okay. All right.
We'll have access to some of their resources and some of their personnel, but I don't think we'll have any actual volunteers.
Okay, all right.
Motion to approve. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? Submit your votes.
All votes are in.
See the votes. Unanimous approval from those present then to accept the Best Friends Animal Society incentive grant of $1,000. Item number 9, Oklahoma District Attorney Council grant. Chief?
This is done annually through the National Criminal History Improvement Program. So essentially what it means is that fingerprints get filed faster, identified faster, which means you get results on crimes and the like back faster. Additionally, there's no ink involved with this system. So when we bring people back for like DHS or teachers when they do their background every year, it's kind of nice not to have to go through getting ink on them. This is a 100% grant, 100% grant. There's no match for us, and I think this is my second or third time to try for this grant. And not a lot of people, not a lot of agencies our size get one. They go mostly to county, so I was pretty happy to grab this one.
Congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am.
So moved.
Is there, I got a question. Are there operating costs associated with it?
Other than electric,
Is that
no.
really not? Nothing?
Yes.
Okay. It's
Probably cheaper than ink.
Absolutely.
Probably,
Yeah,
but
hope
if you
so.
came down and looked what we use, it's been around since probably
I know.
at least as old as I am.
Okay.
There's been a motion. There's been a motion made.
Motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other questions? Submit your votes.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you all very much. We appreciate it.
See the votes. Unanimous approval then to accept that grant for $20,935 for the purchase of LifeScan system. Item number 10, traffic signal improvements on Division, Noble, Wentz, and Noble. Tenny.
Yes, Mayor, Council. Well, Chief's getting money, I'm spending money. What this project is, staff has had a traffic engineering study done back in November of 2022. This has been talked about for quite some time. We've finally gotten around to finding some funds that we can use for this project. We'd like to utilize some of our remaining funds from previous budgeted funds to improve the signals at Division and Noble and Wentz and Noble. We would be putting up permissive turns on Wentz and Noble for the northbound traffic turning left, your eastbound traffic turning left, and your southbound traffic turning left. And then at Noble and Division, we would be putting up permissive turn signals at the westbound traffic turning left, northbound traffic turning left, and southbound traffic turning left, in hopes to improve traffic flow at this intersection.
Permissive's that yellow deal that comes up and starts flashing.
Yes, sir. They'll be pretty much identical to what we have at our intersections at Harrison and Oklahoma, both on Division.
What kind of, go ahead. What kind of time frame are we looking at?
I haven't gotten that far with the contractor. I wanted to make sure we got it approved first before we get kind of a schedule of when they're able to move forward and get started on construction.
Okay, all right.
You mean construction, what does that comprise of? Just hanging the lights and wiring the system in, I guess?
Yes, sir. It will consist of adding a additional head on the existing arm, and then we'll have to do some upgrades to the cabinet at Division and Noble. The components in the cabinet itself is dated and is going to need to be updated. There's some minor upgrades to the ones at Wentz and Noble. It had gotten hit by a truck not long ago, so those were updated at that point in time. So minor updates at Wentz and Noble, full update at Noble and Division, and then hanging additional heads on the 3 head arms.
Sounds good. Let's get her done.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Submit your votes, please. See the votes. Unanimous approval.
Thank you.
Those present then to approve $40,083 for traffic improvements on Division and Noble and Wentz and Noble. Item number 11, special use permits at 423 East Grant. Dan.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. As indicated, this is a request for a special use permit for a 15 by 18 carport in front of the existing home. You'll see in the pictures that were provided, they don't currently have any garage on the property. They have an existing parking area in front of the house, and they would like to cover it with a carport. The Planning Commission had voted 3-0 to approve. They found it to be compatible with the area. Staff did not receive any letters or any phone calls in opposition. There was nobody at the public hearing. The only questions that came up were a few of the property owners that got notice and thought it was a code enforcement letter. And when I explained to them what it was, they're like, oh, I don't care. So with that, I give it back to the council for any questions.
So nobody's going to be feeling like if this is allowed, we're breaking previous decisions? Or?
No, because again, the big consideration is compatibility with the area, the neighborhood. We have previously approved these. I think the last time this issue came up over on Lombardi Road, it was a similar situation where they had no garage and they had an existing parking area. And again, with this area, it's not going to be out of character at all.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion or questions? Submit your votes.
All votes are in.
See the votes. Unanimous approval from those present then to approve the special use permits at 423 East Grand for carport. Item number 12, FEMA mitigation grant acceptance. Chief?
Mayor and council, this was a hazardous mitigation grant that I've been working on since I took over in June of last year. We found the need for this grant whenever we lost power in February of 22. At that time, we realized that we lost power, and when we were going to check off our trucks to do our morning check, our truck checkoffs, that we could not raise our doors to our station bay. So we had guys climbing on the trucks and pulling the emergency levers. And then we had an electrician come out and look at the sizing of our generator and was telling us basically that our generator doesn't even run half of our department. So I ran across this mitigation grant. It's a 75-25 requiring us to match 25%. The cost, our portion is going to cost roughly $26,397. And with that, I will be happy to answer any questions.
Well, I must say, again, congratulations on searching out and finding grant. I mean, this is a way, Chief Schweiger identified a grant that he's identified in his presentation. Yours is significant. Again, congratulations for stretching the resources that the city has.
Thank you, Mayor.
And this is big enough to keep the whole facility running
Yes,
in
and
the event
this-
of a power outage, right?
Yes, and this generator is also going to allow us room for growth as well. I think Chief Swagger can attest to we're getting new electronics every day that require charging and
Yeah, exactly.
all that stuff, especially with our CAD system that's requiring more our iPads in our vehicles and stuff like that.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion? Submit your votes, please.
All votes are in.
See the votes. Unanimous approval then to move forward with the FEMA mitigation grant of $79,192.50 for a generator. Congratulations, Chief.
Thank you.
Onward to item number 13, amendment for the EMS contract.
So Mayor and Council, this is required, this is a HIPAA Act of 1996. There's been some modifications to it. They are also going to require us by February 16th of 2026 to update our NPPs. Our EMS billing team will take care of these mailings. It's 95 cents per mailing that we run on a patient and transport them to the hospital. They take care of mailing them these updated HIPAA requirements. It's 95 cents per billing. We roughly bill out about 2,500 runs per year. So in my mind, it's a significant, or not a significant amount of money to cover us from any HIPAA violations.
Okay, I noticed that there was no maximum amount. We're just authorizing that action to take place, or that amendment to be included in the contract.
Yes, sir, Mayor.
Okay. Any other questions of the council?
Oh, so moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Submit your votes.
All votes are in.
See the votes. Unanimous approval then to amend the EMS contract to reflect the privacy information that you're talking about being sent out. Item number 14, OMEG settlement on a 2002 Ford F-450. Chief.
So Mayor and Council, in July of this year, we were responding to a call on North Division. The guys were clearing an emergency light, and whenever we proceeded through the light, we were sideswiped by a civilian. It caused significant damage to the bed of the truck. OMAG came out after we had filed a claim with them, and they basically gave us two options. Those two options are listed in your packet. Staff at this time is recommending to go with option 2 because Public Works Director Tenny Maker has expressed interest in using the vehicle for his department. If you recall, about 6 months ago, I came to you because we purchased a cab and chassis with county money. We were actually in the process of replacing this truck. We have that cab and chassis, so the use for that vehicle has extended its life at our department, and Mr. Maker has expressed interest in using it for his.
Denny, what would the use be? You got a specific use that you're going to use it for if we go with this option?
Yes, Mayor, we'll we'll look into finding us a salvaged bed, putting a salvaged bed on it with a Tommy lift, and it'll be replacing a 1990 model Dodge pickup, half-ton pickup.
Okay, all right.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
So moved.
Pick up over 10 years.
Yeah.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Submit your votes.
How about Frank?
See the votes. Unanimous approval. Then to move forward with the second option on the OMAG settlement, which allows us to maintain the vehicle. Item number 15, City Manager Report.
Yes, Mayor and Council, I want to start tonight with thanking our first responders, everybody from the fire department, the surrounding volunteer departments, police department, our dispatchers, Logan County Emergency Management, everybody who's had a hand in what's been going on the last couple of weeks, literally from wildfires to the flooding that we've had, the polar opposites, and also the Public Works Department. They played a huge role last Monday during the ribbon cutting ceremony at the wastewater treatment plant of taking care of the fires out in Langston. So definitely appreciate Tenny and his guys for getting out there during that time of need. Definitely was a big help to the fire department. I've heard from both the chief and from Director Maker that their assistance prevented the fire from being much worse than it was and getting out of control. So we were able to get on top of that, and that's great. We've seen some regional partnership in this time of crisis, and that's also good as well. We've got good neighbors, and we all come together when we need to, so we appreciate that. Thank you to our first responders and everybody who's been on deck. They've worked long hours, they've worked hard, and we always answer the call. There's never a problem. We're always there. So thank you. Your support is very much appreciated. With the rain, the lakes are up approximately 15 inches as of this morning. So although Guthrie Lake does not look like it, it is coming up. So contrary to the belief out there, we were down just a little over 8 feet prior to the rain event. So last time on record that we have Guthrie Lake being that low was approximately 2007. So it is not like we're not aware that the water is low out there. We've been using Liberty Lake, a blend of Liberty Lake and Cottonwood Creek water at the water treatment plant. We have now transitioned back to using Liberty until the Cottonwood comes down because of all the debris and other items in the water that shouldn't be there that may cause us issues at the water treatment facility. Held the wastewater treatment plant ribbon cutting on Monday, October 28th. It was good attendance out there. Really appreciate everybody coming out. We would also like to thank Congresswoman Stephanie Bice, Senator Chuck Hall, Representative Pfeiffer, Dool, former Representative Gary Mize, former City Manager Leroy Alsop, Mayor and Council, Public Works Director Tenny Maker, Myers Engineering, Plant Superintendent Chris Nielsen, and the entire community for their support during this process. As we've said before, the wastewater treatment plant is a generational shift for the community. Doesn't sound like something to be excited about, but I guarantee you when you need it, you'll know, and it is exciting. So very, very happy to see the strides of progress we're making in our infrastructure. You look at the wastewater treatment plant, you look at the improvements we're making to the towers, as well as the West Side Booster Pump Station is currently out for bid. So we're making some pretty drastic replacements and improvements with CIP money, OWRB funds, and other options that are available as they come available. So again, that's just another example of Team Guthrie doing all they can and making that dollar go further. Just like the two chiefs, we try to turn every dollar into three. Usually we turn every dollar into two, but we strive to turn it into three. So. Coming up on Monday, City Hall and non-emergency services will be closed for Veterans Day. Veterans Day Parade hosted by the American Legion will begin at 10 o'clock with a ceremony to follow at Honor Park. If you don't have that on your calendar, please add that to it. Held a ribbon cutting for Aeronauts Flight School out at the Guthrie Edmond Regional Airport. We're excited to have them as a tenant out at the airport and look forward to seeing what all they bring to the community. October 16th, we hosted the Oklahoma Municipal Management Services Luncheon at Meridian Tech. Light attendance, but several communities represented: Edmond, Nichols Hills, Noble, Crescent, Perkins, Mulhall, and Coyle. Had a good conversation, talked about the issues. We call it a hot topic luncheon. What's going on in your community? How can we work together? How can we solve issues? So that was good. Appreciated that. Staff and a few council members were able to attend the Night of the Museum on October 24th. If you haven't been over the museum lately, lots of good things happening there at the Publishing Museum. We were able to honor Dr. A.J. Griffin for all of her contributions, and as you know, quite literally saved the facility from no longer being what it is or what it was. So many of us were there. It's great. If you haven't been to the facility lately, recommend that you do reach out to anybody as part of the Guthrie Tomorrow Coalition and their efforts. The annual Thanksgiving luncheon will be held on November 22nd at 11:30 at the Public Works Authority office. And we'll have that out to you in an email. With that, Mayor, that's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 16, comments from City Council. Vice Mayor Aguirre.
Nothing, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Taylor.
It was great. I know it's out of sight, out of mind on the wastewater treatment plant, but it was a good time had by all. There was a lot of people there. I know that Tenny was gone out fighting fires, so, and it's gone from one extreme to the other. So we need more rain, but hey, every little bit we're getting right now is helping and making a difference. Thank you, staff. Sean and Joe, I appreciate you working on what you did, so it was great today, too. So, thank you, guys.
Councilman Williams.
No, sir, thank you.
Councilman Ropp.
I'm going to pull a Taylor and actually thank you. And actually thank staff for all the hard work everybody's been doing the past few weeks. I know you guys work hard a lot, and there's been a lot of extra, so I appreciate that. Tenny, I thought of you again when it rained. I don't want you to be creeped out, I'm just kidding. But no, I do think, I wonder if Tenny's thinking about the lake, right? I was going to ask about if we had any numbers on that, and you already gave it, so appreciate that. Yeah, I have a Guthrie Haunt shirt on. That is still going on. They still have 2 more days, Friday and Saturday, 7 to midnight, over at the Guthrie Haunts grounds, just north on Wentz. You can go to GuthrieHaunts.com, or you can buy tickets at the door. But they're still going strong, trying to break the all-time attendance record that they have there. I think they might be able to do it. And I think they're officially we have the largest haunt in the state, or spook house in the state. And so you guys grab some friends. If you don't want to go to the spook house, they have a carnival outside. So you don't actually have to go through the spook house. So and other than that, that's all I have.
Councilman Bothroyd.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Okay. I happened to be walking along the streets, not not collecting candy, but during the candy trick or treat from the chamber sponsored downtown, ran into 3 or 4 people from out of town that had no idea that this was going on. And they were talking about such a wonderful thing that the chamber and the city does for the kids, opening up the downtown area, kind of before dark, safe environment with lots of candy. And even though a couple of them commented that they did have a hard time finding a parking spot, they thought it was for a great cause. It was for a great cause. These are people that were just driving through town. So I mean, it was a huge success. We do have some opportunities again. Standard part of my comments. We've got vacancies on the Board of Adjustment, the Library Board, Historic Preservation, Planning, and the Guthrie Historic Authority. I'm sorry, Guthrie Housing Authority. So plenty of opportunity there for individuals that would like to get more engaged. Also, I would like to mention our city manager, Eddie, does a podcast. Is it once a month that you do it?
Yes, sir.
Once a month on Facebook, and the Facebook is City of Guthrie Municipal Government. Is that the correct title? In which Eddie talks about the things that are happening, the things that have happened, and the things that are happening and are about to happen in our community. Very informative, very well done. Look that up on your Facebook. City of Guthrie Municipal Government, I believe, is the site. And it has really good information. Congratulations, you do a great job on that.
Thank you, sir. Since you mentioned it, I will say the meat and potatoes behind that is Aaron, Shonda, and Justin. I'm reading a script. Aaron, they're doing all the work. So I just want to say I'm not taking the credit for that, but I do appreciate the team. They make those things happen.
Well, Team Guthrie at work yet again, but it is an excellent presentation. So take advantage of that. Take a look at it. That's all I have. So item number 17, proposed executive session to discuss confidential information concerning, between the city council and our attorney concerning Spirit Wing Aviation, as well as discussing a revised non-bargaining employee pay plan.
Your Honor, I move that we go into executive session pursuant to Title 25 OS 3, Section 307, B4, for the purposes of discussing confidential communication between the city, its attorney concerning pending investigations, claims, or actions against Spirit Wing Aviation LTD in breach of their hangar ground lease agreement, and also under Section 307B2 for the purposes of discussing the revised non-bargaining employee pay plan.
Could you read that one time?
I can't speak that fast, but you all heard. So we have a motion and a second, and submit your votes. Let's see the votes. Unanimous vote then to go into executive session.
We don't have to run.
We'll see you all. Okay, item number 18, I'll entertain a motion to return to council chambers out of executive session.
So moved.
Have a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Submit your votes. See the votes. Unanimous approval from those present then to move from executive session back into council chambers. Item number 19, no action taken at this time. Item number 20, resolution number 2024-24, revising the fiscal year 2025 non-bargaining unit employee pay plan.
Your Honor, I move approval of Resolution 2024 revising FY25 non-bargaining employee pay plan.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Nope.
Submit your votes. Let's see the votes. Unanimous approval then to move forward with resolution number 2024-24, revising the fiscal year 2025 non-bargaining employee pay plan. That being the last item on our agenda, we are adjourned from this meeting. And I open our Public Works Authority meeting of November 5th. Second item on the agenda is consent agenda items A through G. A is the approval of the Public Works Authority meeting of October 15th. B is approval of payment of $157,083 to Southwest Water Works for water distribution system project. C is the payment of $15,149.07 to Myers Engineering for the water distribution system project. D is the confirmation of City Council payment of $8,516.85 to Myers Engineering for the West Side booster pump replacement and upgrade. E is the confirmation of City Council action of $3,498.20 to Myers Engineering for services for the ADA accessible intersection and sidewalk project. F is confirmation of City Council action payment of $3,445 to Myers Engineering for the second fire and EMS station. And G is confirmation of City Council action of $4,252 for services to Myers Engineering for services provided to the second fire EMS station. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Submit your votes. Let's see the votes. Unanimous approval of consent agenda items A through G. Third item is removal of items from the consent agenda. There were none. That being the last item on our agenda, ladies and gentlemen, we are adjourned for the evening. Thank you very much.